hey everybody, welcome back.
Hey everyone.
This is Generation X Paranormal. I'm Logan.
And I'm Nicole.
Guys, this is a fun episode.
Yes.
This is a fun episode because it's not our episode.
No.
It's your episode. That was cool.
We didn't even
We
plan
didn't
that.
plan that. But no, not so long ago we decided, hey, you know, I'm sure our audience maybe wants to get in on some of this fun because honestly, this show is just as much yours as it is ours. I think a lot of the stuff that we cover is kind of geared more for you guys because, I mean, you're the ones that are sitting and listening and watching.
Mhm.
So I figured, hey, let's see if they want to get involved.
Yes.
So we sent out I think we hit it on everything, socials. Heck, I even think we made an ad for it.
Yeah, we did.
And basically, we just wanted you to send us your paranormal stories, and we had some come in, and we chose a couple that are really good.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it'll be interesting because it's something that we've never done before, and it's going to be cool for you guys. So, but yeah, we got some really good ones, and hopefully this isn't the first time or the last time, rather.
No,
You
I'd
know?
like to keep doing
Yeah,
it
this is fun.
periodically.
Yeah, every so often we'll maybe throw that out there. Say, hey, if you guys want to tell us your spooky stories,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, put them out. But anyway, I thought maybe we'd start with one that's somewhat close to home.
Yes.
Um,
Well, somewhat, kind of close to home.
kind of close to home, but
not but very far away.
anyway, we chose this because not only because it's a great story, but this will come out well after this happens. But we're having family kind of going out in that area, so it's always
Yes.
interesting, kind of tie it in a little bit. So
Mhm.
I said, you know what? Let's do something about Deadwood because we have some family going.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one that we picked, and this I assume is okay because he didn't say he didn't want his name said, so we're going to say it anyway. But this comes from L. David Hessler.
Yes.
Okay, he's got a very interesting story about Deadwood.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, he wrote in, I'm going to do the best I can here because I'm not the best of reading off script, but here we go, okay? But anyway, David says, I'd like to share the story that inspired me to become a paranormal investigator. Always love these. These are good. Honestly, I've always been fascinated by strange things. Some of my fondest childhood memories involve watching reruns of In Search of with my family or borrowing Time Life's Mysteries of the Unknown books from the local library and devouring them throughout the summer vacation. And let me tell you something, In Search of, watch it all the time. Love that show. Anyway, but what truly pushed me to go looking for things that go bump in the night is an experience I had at the Fairmont Hotel in Deadwood 2 years ago. This is where it's going to get fun. My brother and I took our families on a joint vacation to Wyoming, South Dakota, and Colorado in the summer of 2023. We had just arrived in Deadwood for a short stay, and my wife said, you know, you and your brother should go on that ghost tour tonight. And she pointed to a sign posted on the exterior wall of an old brick building. Now, I knew nothing about the place, but jumped at the opportunity, quickly planning the night with my brother. I didn't do any research about the property before we arrived that evening. Obviously, expectations were very low. At the very least, I thought we might learn something interesting, some history, and hear a few spooky stories. As we learned later, the Fairmont Hotel was one of the most haunted places in the state.
That always happens, doesn't it?
Bum, bum, bum. So I was completely unprepared for what would happen that night. During our first stop on the second floor, I found myself standing at the rear of the group in a doorway of one of the small hotel rooms. My back was to the hallway, and the rest of the group was inside the room listening to our tour guide. This was when I had the first of 3 distinct and escalating experiences that night. While the tour guide regaled us with stories of the old brothel's past, I heard a woman's voice in the hall. It was a faint whisper, and I tried to convince myself it was a sound of contamination from the bar downstairs or perhaps foot traffic on the street. But here's the problem. It sounded as if it came directly behind me. That's kind of hard.
That's the way it always happens.
It is. You know, you always try to talk yourself out of it and be like, no.
That's what we all do. Yeah.
Well, I shook it off and I tried to enjoy the tour until it was time to ascend a set of stairs that led to the 3rd floor of the building. Now, somehow I was chosen to lead the entire group, including the tour guide, to the next level. We had been warned that a particularly cranky spirit was said to reside on the 3rd floor. I assumed this was a simple way for the tour guide to ramp up visitor anxiety as they neared the end of the tour. So I stumbled up the steps, trying desperately not to trip in front of everyone, which would definitely be my first fear.
Mm-hmm.
But as my head emerged to the third floor at the top of the steps, I experienced a sensation that I'd never had before, and I haven't had it since. It felt as if I pushed my head into a thick membrane. Yes, I have felt that before. As I gained my footing, I couldn't shake the sensation of having a weighted blanket dropped over my head.
Mm.
Yeah. It was warm and everything seemed muffled the way it does when you go underwater at a pool. I've actually had that happen to me.
That's interesting.
That's
Yeah.
really weird. So this lasted about 30 or 40 seconds as the rest of the group entered the landing of the third floor, and then it dissipated almost as quickly as it had occurred. So yeah, kind of
Like
like
you stepped through a portal or something. Like that's what I'm
maybe.
imagining.
Yeah. I kind of also figure like,
You know how like they do on TV where they like stick their hands through
yeah, I
to the other side?
yeah. I keep thinking,
That's what
remember Big Bang Theory when Sheldon puts his arm in there and he's
Yeah.
tricking her? That's kind of what it made me think of.
Yeah, that's what it makes me think of.
My final experience of the night was about 15 minutes later during a free roam, which is kind of what a lot of people do when you do some of these investigations. And that time, attendees were allowed to wander independently and take pictures and videos. Everyone stayed in the same general location, that is, everyone but me. I decided to step away from the group by myself and go down the hall to explore a room we hadn't even reached yet during our tour. I found myself standing inside another small hotel room with the door to the hallway to my left, the majority of the room to my right, and a small dark closet directly in front of me. I used my phone to record myself nervously asking a few mundane questions. Then I decided I should start heading back to the group. Almost as soon as I turned off the recorder, yes, this is how this happens.
Every time. Every time.
Almost as soon as I turned off the recorder, a voice came from that tiny closet. It seemed no more than a foot or two away from my face, and it felt so real that even as I write this, I get chills thinking about the sound of it. It was a single breathy syllable, so loud that I thought my brother had somehow managed to hide inside the closet to scare me. Yeah, the voice said, "Hey." I wasn't prepared for such a visceral and real experience that night. I practically ran back to the group at the landing of the third floor, then past them and my brother, who had in fact been standing there the whole time. And I found myself sitting on a windowsill staring at my trembling hands and feeling tears welling at the corner of my eyes, which is honestly, whenever you get that first experience,
yeah.
yeah, it's like nothing you're ever going to experience before.
Right.
Honestly, there are some times even to this day when I'm at a particular site and it hits me really hard.
Yeah.
You kind of get that reaction.
Now it's more exciting though than scary, I think, at least for me.
Yeah. You still get that like first
But I remember
jolt.
that first.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was really scary. So what had I just experienced? What was that? Had I just become face to face with a ghost? Was that even possible? Those questions haunted me for weeks and then months until I finally decided that I wanted to experience the paranormal again. So I co-founded a team of paranormal investigators, and we've learned not to run away from those voices or strange sounds. In fact, we get excited from when it happens each time we investigate a haunted place. That experience in the Fairmont might have terrified me in the moment, but it also reignited my passion for the paranormal in a way I could never have imagined. Our group is the Midwest Ghost Project based out of Kansas City area. We share our investigations on YouTube as well as on Instagram and the Facebooks.
Yep.
Anyway, thanks for listening to my story. No, awesome. Thank you so much.
Great story.
Great story.
Great story. Yeah.
And I think anybody who's done this at any level, whether you do it, I mean, dare I say professionally or whatever have you.
Right.
I think everybody goes through that first initial, holy crap, that really scared me.
Well, that's what, like, then you got to figure out what it is. And it's this passion that you go after and trying to find the truth of why you heard or saw or whatever the experience is. And it's almost the same for every single investigator we talk to. Not same experience, just there's something we got to find the answer. Like,
Yeah.
why did this happen to me? Because it is. I mean, it's probably one of the most unexplainable things
Yep.
in our world.
And it's an adrenaline rush too.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
There's some people that like to, skydive and jump off cliffs and, do. I'm not one of those people
No.
at all. But this is my adrenaline rush.
Yeah, I keep thinking of those, oh God, those videos of those people that get up on the very top of things and they do that video looking down and you get sick to your stomach.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and that's not
No,
me.
thanks.
I'd much rather do what we do
Yeah.
because number one, I enjoy kind of what he's talking about, like that thrill, that
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, that adrenaline hit, but I
Yeah.
also kind of like what we talk about a lot is the history, getting to learn kind of, where we're at.
Right.
That's really important. But yeah, so tell us a little bit about some of the research that you came across that might be helpful here.
Yeah. So I looked into the research of just the Fairmont Hotel in that area of Deadwood. So that way we can kind of corroborate some of the stuff that he's talking about
Yeah.
that he experienced. So the Fairmont Hotel was a former 1895 Victorian brothel. Ladies of the night, right?
Yes.
A bar and a gaming hall in Deadwood, South Dakota. Now, Deadwood was populated by the Black Hills Gold Rush in the 1870s. Okay, so it's like an old frontier town, basically.
Right.
And it was actually considered an illegal town because it was located in the quote Indian territory,
Yeah,
right?
of course.
Native American territory, and it became like wild and lawless. So like another kind of like a Tombstone without the mining, right?
Okay, yeah.
I mean, kind of like the mine. I mean, it's gold
Maybe
rush.
like Jerome a little bit too.
Yeah, yeah. So one of those. I mean, we've seen multiple of those, and I mean, you've got all these people out there trying to make money. They're drinking, they're gambling, they're sleeping with women, they're out there fighting and shooting each other. I mean, it was one of those types of situations.
Keep seeing Val Kilmer.
Yeah,
I'm
poor
your
Val
Uncle
Kilmer.
Barry.
We lost him. Now, the Fairmont Hotel attracted some wild and violent people, like I was just saying.
Yeah.
But this is interesting, and I didn't know this. It sits right next door to where the saloon number 10 was, and it's where Wild Bill Hickok was shot in the back.
Oh, geez.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Boy, that leaves a mark.
So that's like a popular story, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
Now, the spirits that reside in the Fairmont, or what is known, right,
Right.
is a young prostitute named Margaret who committed suicide by jumping out of a window. Okay. There's also a man who, the story's weird, but a man who accidentally shot himself.
Wow.
Okay, so he discovered one of these ladies of the night, I guess he had feelings for, with another man. And he was going to kill them both, but then something happened and she pushed him and the gun somehow ended up shooting himself.
Man, talk about bad luck.
Right. But he is the one that supposedly, like he told us in the story, is supposed to haunt the third floor.
Oh, okay.
They say that he wants the floor to himself, and that's when he causes problems, is when anybody tries to go in there and like restore it or anything, because it's like they haven't restored, or at least at that point hadn't restored the third and fourth floor. I believe I read. Now, Jack McCall, so that's the man that killed Wild Bill Hickok. Okay. Suffered actually a botched hanging.
Yikes.
Mm-hmm. And they say his spirit moved into the Fairmont. So they think he's there as well.
Botched hanging.
Yeah. So, they didn't.
So he just basically suffocated and choked to death.
He suffered. Yeah.
Yikes.
It wasn't a quick. Yeah. Now, there's also a spirit of a little boy, they say, that runs around the hotel.
Those
we
are
don't know.
little.
Yeah. We don't know about that, but that's something that's included. Now, here are some of the reported hauntings. Like, those are like notable, like ones they know of.
Mm-hmm.
But the reported hauntings, and that there's like an area where people's hands and feet feel like they're being moved.
Nope.
There's a tall, ghostly figure who shows up in various parts of the hotel.
Okay.
They don't know if it's the third floor man or not, or this Jack McCall. I mean, but it's like it seems to be like a separate spirit. They see full body apparitions and they hear disembodied voices. And he heard, hey, right? And the third floor is where he felt that stuff. So it's interesting. Like, his story afterwards I went and looked this up. I'm like, yeah, look at that.
And David, talk
Yeah.
about hitting it out the park right away.
he got it. So.
First of all, dolls. Hate dolls. Anybody who knows me knows that. But the other thing is feet. Things start reaching for my feet. I can handle a lot. I can get scared pretty well, but things touching my feet ain't gonna happen.
Right,
Not dealing with it.
But he is our storyteller is a part of Midwest Ghost Project. That's what he created, and they're in Kansas City. But you can find them. They've got a Facebook page, facebook.com Midwest Ghost Project. So look them up. And that's what we meant at the beginning. Is like it's close but far away. They're in Kansas City, Missouri, which we're in Missouri.
Yep.
But we're talking about Deadwood, South Dakota. So it was far away, but close. So
I kind of Tarantino'd that a little bit.
Yeah, and he confused me there for a second, as you can tell. There's a long pause. I was trying to get on his train of thought.
I probably confused myself, too.
Yeah.
But no, guys, look him up. Thank you so much, David, for sending that in.
Yeah.
Talk about hitting it out of the park your first time up, right?
That's a good one. Yeah. And it reminds me of when we went to Missouri State Penitentiary the first time with my aunt and uncle. And my uncle actually heard, well, you heard a little bit, but he got the whisper in his ear. Yeah,
and it was so, anybody's ever been to Missouri State Penitentiary and you go to the dungeon?
Yeah, it was in the dungeon of all places in complete dark. It's when they turned off all the lights.
And it becomes so dark that I mean, you don't sense anything. It's
you can't see anything.
As complete blackness.
Great story. So thank you for submitting that.
Thank you, David.
Okay, on to our next one.
Yeah.
And this one comes from a lovely woman, and she's very sweet, and we talked to her over social media several times. We're both big fans of Haunted Scotland.
Yeah.
Ryan O'Neill and Greg Stewart and his group. She's fabulous, and she sent this very long story, and I'm excited to get into it because I did a little bit extra research to try to find a reason I think maybe that I did.
Yeah.
So
I
this
think
is
you
for
did
you.
too.
Cindy Davis. This comes from Cindy Davis.
Hey, Cindy.
Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and read her story, and then we'll talk about a little bit of the stuff that I found.
Okay.
So she says, it was 2012, and my aunt had just passed away unexpectedly at the age of 53. We were all devastated, but it was my nieces I had so much concern for. I decided I was going to plan a camping trip for all of us so we could spend time together and process our heartbreak. What I wasn't expecting was the depth of spirit contact that happened on this adventure. My son was about 7 as we headed from Oregon to Thousand Springs Resort in southern Idaho. I had rented a camping cabin for all of us to stay for 2 nights. This camping cabin sits right at the base of hot springs known as Thousand Springs. This area is steeped in history from Shoshone tribe who inhabited this land for hundreds of years before the pioneer settlers came in. When we got to this location, we first went to sit at the edge of the water. I could see these Shoshone people standing right there catching fish with nets. Interesting.
Yeah.
So interesting. I could feel them, and it made my heart skip a beat. As our time together went on, we enjoyed the swimming pool with our 2 little boys and just enjoyed each other's company. We processed emotions around the passing of my aunt, their mother. For me, it was as if we were having a family reunion. This is largely because my Aunt Marie kept popping into our conversation. She was delivering messages to her daughters through me. It was as if a faucet had opened up and she just kept talking. She provided life advice, pride in who her daughters had become, words of sadness about what she wished her life had been like. She expressed regret that she didn't take chances to go to college, develop a career, and to explore life more than she did. She really had a lot to say, and I was not at all expecting all of this to happen.
Wow.
Things kept getting even more interesting. I really need to say, I believe moving water, and especially mineral springs, have a way of connecting us to the spirit world. This entire weekend proved this in many ways.
Yes.
Here's where things get even more exciting. It was our last night in the camping cabin. Thank God there was an AC unit to keep us cool all night. Amen, sister.
Yeah,
We
right.
know that.
Yes.
We all got tucked in. I set the cabin key on the top edge of the AC unit so I could find it in the middle of the night if I needed to run to the restroom. As the light went out, I started feeling a little unsettled for no apparent reason. It was like I had consumed an energy drink and was almost vibrating. Then there was a loud thunk as the room key fell to the floor. So my skeptic self said, well, the AC unit was just shaking it and made it shake to the edge and fall. That's what we would all say.
Yep. Reason it away.
Yep. Well, then things started to intensify. I could hear drumming in the distance, and it sounded very tribal. Again, I told myself, oh, that's just the sound of the AC unit vibrating. This music started getting louder and louder, and then the singing started. I was absolutely sure there was a ceremony happening outside on the edge of the river. Maybe this is a ritual they still use at the water's edge. The music got so loud, it sounded like it was literally surrounding our cabin. I decided I needed to get up and step outside so I could watch what was happening. This was when I realized I could not move. I laid there on the top bunk, unable to do anything. At the time, nobody else in the cabin responded to anything. I was honestly quite frightened because I had no idea what was happening, if we were safe, or what to do about any of it. At this point in my life, I was not necessarily spiritual, other than I had many experiences that I now know to have been paranormal. I believed in the afterlife, reincarnation, and that these things can happen. I was awake for what seemed like 5 hours until the ceremonial music faded away and the event was over. I probably only had 2 hours of sleep that night. As everyone woke up, I had to decide how to bring up what had happened. I looked at my cousin and simply asked, by any chance, did you hear anything last night? She responded with, oh yeah, now that you mention it, I thought I had heard drums outside when I was falling asleep.
Wow.
I proceeded to explain to them what I experienced. I was still skeptical, though. I went into the resort area and asked the staff, was there by chance a group of musicians staying here last night? They looked at me like I had 3 heads. They absolutely did not have any guess who would have been playing music.
3 heads.
We packed up our vehicles and decided to go check out the fossil beds before we all parted ways. We drove up the highway and there was a large roadside historic marker. Something told me we absolutely had to pull over and read it. I can't recall exactly what it said. However, it seems like I was reading about a massacre that had happened between the pioneers and the Shoshone. Again, it might be pertinent to look up more history before including this in the story, she says. This is a long time ago, so I might be recalling the details of the sign wrong. As I was reading this history, I realized I had experienced a spiritual ceremony from the Shoshone who lived on this land hundreds of years ago. Even though I was scared, I realized they didn't mean harm to us. In fact, I almost wonder if this entire weekend was a bit of an awakening of my spirit. I like to believe they were celebrating me in that way, and it was a beautiful realization.
Yep.
I grew up in northern Idaho, and our parents made sure to incorporate the history and honor of the tribes that lived there. We often went to powwows and had wonderful friends from various tribes, so this experience was really significant for me. I have the most respect for our indigenous friends and have always honored their beautiful spiritual practices.
That's awesome.
Beautiful story.
Yeah, it really is.
Beautiful story.
And being half crazy, but no, half native and half brown. That's a great story. I appreciate it, and thank you for your words. That whenever you talk about indigenous and things that happened in the past, it's so rich in history, and there's so much that can be said that sometimes, it lends itself a little bit to the story. So you're right, some extra research should be done, and I'm getting the feeling that you did some extra research.
I really did, not only because it's Cindy,
Yeah.
but also because I really connected to her story.
Yeah.
Because we have some similarities with this. I had my aunt pass away, and it seems like after that, I started to open up to more things. There were some strange occurrences that happened through me to give messages to my family from my aunt. So when she said that, I know exactly what you're talking about, Cindy. Like, I know exactly what you're talking about. And I feel like there's just an awakening that's supposed to happen with you at a certain time. And maybe you pay more attention to it because it's through something with your loved ones.
Yeah.
I really feel that. So I wanted to do this justice and try to see what I could find, right? Okay, so in that area of Idaho. It's like southeastern Idaho, okay, where this resort is, and it's along the Snake River.
Okay.
Okay, and I also found where the fossil beds were that she was talking about. So, for indigenous history there, it's the Shoshone and Bannock tribes.
I think it's Bannock, yeah.
Yeah, have deep historical ties to the Snake River.
Okay.
Which served as a vital resource and cultural center for them.
Okay.
Their customs revolved around the river's bounty, particularly the abundant salmon runs, and included seasonal migrations, fishing techniques, and spiritual practices tied to the river and its resources. And remember, she said when she first got there, she saw them fishing with nets.
That's exactly what she said, yeah. Huh. Look at that, Cindy.
Yeah. So now the Snake River and its resources held deep spiritual significance with ceremonies and dances tied to the salmon and other natural elements. So they would hold ceremonies next to the river.
Yeah, I mean that's a very common thing. You know, the river obviously is something that provided to nations.
Well, yeah.
So yeah, it's celebrating.
But I wanted to find like actual
yeah.
factual truth about this.
You
right?
go for it. Yep.
Okay. Now, there was also, and this is from Cindy, actually. She was the one that told me. But there was an ancient ancestor of the tribes that they called Beulah, I think, whose grave was actually disturbed near Thousand Springs along the Snake River. They were probably, just digging or building something.
Sure.
But she was repatriated under the Native American Graves Repatriation Act. Say that really fast.
I'm glad you said it first.
In 1997, and was determined to be 12,750 years old.
That is just that's devastatingly long ago, and it predates so much.
Yeah. So it's positive proof that the Native American people have occupied this area since we don't know how long.
I mean,
right?
It was First Nations. Yeah.
Now, this part's so interesting. And honestly, I might tear up a little bit because it was like, it hit me like with a force.
Sure.
Not only for her, but for me as well, like that connection of the family and how things work in the universe. And we don't know how it all works, but it's pretty interesting. So the basis of the Shoshone religion was a belief in dreams, visions, and a creator. And it fostered individual self-reliance, courage, and the wisdom to meet life's problems in a challenging environment. Most Shoshone ceremonies are dances similar to the Great Basin Round dances, also known as the ghost dance. Okay? The dance aimed to honor the deceased and foster healing and renewal. It was a way for people to come together, express grief, and seek spiritual solace during difficult times. I don't think it's any coincidence that she felt pulled to go to Idaho to go to this place with her family to grieve the loss of their mother and her aunt.
Yep. It's a vision quest.
Yes. And now these ghost dances, I don't know if people know about this. I mean, that was one of the reasons that caused Wounded Knee.
Yeah.
The military, they thought they were planning a coup or whatever because they were doing this ghost dance and they went in and killed them all, right?
Yep, they did.
Okay. And there was something, I tried to find the sign she was talking about. I even pulled up the map and went like inch by inch all along that road from where she said she was.
Yeah.
Couldn't find it, but there was I think it was the Bear River Massacre I saw that it happens just south of there where they killed a ton of Native Americans. And it was actually, I think it was over 250 to 300 of them, mostly women and children. And it was more than Wounded Knee, but that one kind of got swept under the rug at the time because of whatever political stuff was going on.
Sure.
So I think that's probably the sign that she saw.
Yeah.
We don't even know if it's still there.
I mean,
but
like ghost dance. I mean, that's so well known.
Yeah, but we're going to I found a couple of clips. Now it's not the Shoshones, but this is a Lakota ghost dance from September 24th of 1894. Obviously, there's no sound.
Sure.
And it's black and white, but we're just going to show that clip right here. So that's the ghost dance.
Right.
Now, I also found this, so it's the Shoshone and Bannock tribe, like a powwow of a round dance and singing, like a tiny little clip. And this is them. I mean,
Yeah.
just a tiny little to show how they dance.
Sure. Okay.
Okay, so we'll play that right here. So what I'm interested to know, Cindy, you're going to have to let us know if it sounded anything like that.
Yeah, that's what I want to know.
Because it included a drum, and he was singing and the dancing and the chanting and stuff. So I'm really curious to know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it's been a while, but I'm sure if it sparks a memory, Cindy's
Yeah,
gonna
I
tell
mean,
us.
music is one of the things that makes us remember the most.
Absolutely.
Smells and music.
Absolutely. I
Right?
mean, I'm listening to 80s radio on my drive. I'm always like, I can always picture
You can
what I'm
picture where
doing.
you were.
Oh,
Yeah.
all the time.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, there was also a concept of soul dualism that they believed in, okay? Where one soul or soul aspect represented vitality or life, okay? The other represented the individual as he was in a dream or vision state.
Wow.
During dreams or visions, the latter soul left the body and moved into the spirit realm.
Boy.
And what she experienced that night, not being able, the falling asleep, and even we just listened to a live by Chris Fleming talking
Right.
about the different states of sleep and how you're more likely to see and hear things as
Sure.
you're first falling asleep
Right.
or when you first walk up. And I don't remember what he said that was called, but I find it interesting that we just listened to that from
It's
him and we're doing
serendipity.
this episode. But she was falling asleep, and even her sister, she said, was falling asleep. Right? And when they both heard the drums and all that started happening, and then she couldn't move.
Yeah.
Sleep paralysis, right?
Exactly.
How many times is there sleep paralysis in paranormal events?
It happens more times
It
than I can
happened.
think of.
I've had it, and it's
Yeah.
terrifying. Like, mine was a terrifying experience. I
Right.
did not want that to ever happen again. But the fact that she's laying there and she's hearing what I think, personally, is a ceremony meant for her
Absolutely. Yeah.
and her family. It was like a grieving, that connection between spirit and her, and she's from Idaho anyway. That I thought that was really interesting. It's like she was meant to be there. It was meant to help her.
Yeah, I
get
don't
through
think there's
this.
any coincidence in that.
Not at all, especially after all this stuff that I just read.
Yeah, I think she was set, whether she knew it or not, her path was to go there, and her path was to have this experience, because not only has it changed her obviously indelibly from that moment
Right.
on,
Yeah.
she was meant to have this experience.
And she was the one trying to help her family. So they were giving her peace so she could give them peace.
Right. Yeah,
And that's how I feel like my experience was with my aunt passing.
right.
Is like I was opened up so I could help give them peace.
Yeah.
And so that's why I really feel, soul sister, I feel a connection with you in the story. Like it really touched me. Now, I did find this clip, which this is just a message for you, Cindy, because it actually, thinking about it, tears me up. But it's a Shoshone woman talking about the traditional drum and why they played it in their, in their religion, basically. So we're going to play that right here.
Our Indian people a long time ago, they told us, when you sing songs, you sing it for life. But lately, they've been using them for death. When a person dies, they take the drums over there and they sing songs for them. This is what I was told, was that if you use the songs for life at the time when you're singing for death, that those songs are packed away by the person that died. And so therefore you lose that song and the power it had.
So yeah, So profound. So profound.
Yeah, and again, don't think it's any accident.
I don't. No.
It's an experience that she had, and I think it's one of those that, first of all, doesn't need to be explained away. It's
No.
something that, hopefully, and I know she does, it's something that she's gonna carry with her the rest of her life, and it had meaning to it.
But what a beautiful
Oh,
experience.
yeah.
What a beautiful experience.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, I know we call it paranormal, but to me, that's as granted, it's got a paranormal theme, but to me, that's so much spirituality and so
Oh,
much,
so much. Yeah.
so much. It's very touching. So, Cindy, thank you so much for sending it.
Yeah, thank you. I had well, I wouldn't say a blast researching it, but
Yeah,
I was I was very looking forward to researching it
for
for you
sure.
and actually finding it saying that, and like it just coincided with everything she said about the dream state and the fishing in the river and the drumming and the reason they even do that dance. It's
Hmm.
like they have their war dances, of course, that they
Right.
had, but they also had the morning dances.
Hmm.
And the morning dances always included singing and drumming.
It's beautiful.
Yeah. So,
Yeah,
thank you. Thank you both for sending in your stories.
absolutely.
Just great stories,
David,
great
I'm gonna
stories.
have to go out to Deadwood sometime because we've got so much family that goes out there. I think I just need
Mhm.
to go with them sometime. I know you wanna go too.
Yeah, yeah, I'd love to see it.
I think it's definitely one of those bucket list things for us, so may have to go check that out and, report back what we found.
Yeah, yeah.
Because if I hit the 3rd floor and I start hearing "Hey," and I'm somehow getting my head shoved through a membrane, I'm probably gonna call you. I'm gonna
Oh,
reach out to you.
what a yeah, what a cool
I
experience,
know,
though.
for the first time, I mean,
But it would be scary. It would
oh,
be really scary.
it'd be scary now, you
Well, I
know?
know, that's what I'm saying. It would
Yeah.
be scary to feel that. I've never felt that.
Yeah, don't let anybody fool you. Paranormal investigators, yeah, we may be running into it, but we're pretty darn scared doing it while we're
Yeah,
engaged. Yeah.
sometimes, but it's the thrill of the hunt,
The
right?
thrill of the hunt. So, David, thank you so much for
Yeah,
sending it in. Cindy, again, touching, amazing.
amazing story, yeah.
So glad to send that in. But guys, look, this doesn't have to be the last time.
No, no,
The
we'll do it
offer's still
again.
there. We won't have anything up to date yet, but it doesn't need to be anything formal. If you guys have a story you want to hear on the air, send it to us.
Yeah,
And we'll build them up, and maybe we'll make a much bigger, broader show.
mhm.
But our door is always open, so to speak.
Oh, yeah.
So make sure you write us at info@gxparanormal.com,
Mhm.
and make sure you put the subject line "My Paranormal Story." As you can see, it's your paranormal story that we're going to be
Yes.
reading on the air. So, yeah, don't feel like this is, oh, you missed out. By all means, please. And I know we've got more. But yeah, thank you so much. This was your show,
Mhm.
and we hope you guys liked it. And hopefully we can do some more of these.
Yeah, absolutely.
But other than that, guys, we will see you next week.
See you next week.